Hi, and welcome to Canis Major, the multifamily due diligence. This is part 3. My name is Buddy Henderson, and I'm your host today. And we're going to go through a lot of different things. Just a little bit about me. I've got a BBA in finance. I worked in insurance for 22 years, where I learned a lot because I was a claim rep and I actually did a lot of homes. I was an underwriter for those homes. I was a trainer of all that information from 2008 to 2015 when I finally went full time. I've been a real estate investor since 2011. I've done everything rehab to new development, and I don't do any of that work myself anymore. I let other people do it. I've worked with Phil and Chenoa since 2011, and I actually took their first class in 2009, so I'm well schooled in a lot of the different things that we get to do here. Canis Major Acquisition Specialist since May in 2017, and I've learned a lot in that, and that's why it brings us to their due diligence video. And we're going to start out by looking at what the parts were before. John Linedecker did the first part where he went and talked about the offering memorandum and did quick analysis and all those pieces that go in looking at it up front. While David Teo took all the information from John, and he used that to make a pro forma to check to see what we could do with this property and developed a 5-year plan for that to make sure we could do it. He took it all the way through executing a contract. Well, I'm going to take it to where we're looking at the different pieces from the structural piece to the financial piece, and then Siva will get to talk to us about closing steps next week. So let's look at this for the start off at the exterior. It doesn't matter if you start interior or exterior, they're two different pieces. The exterior really takes into use of contractors and inspectors. You need to have a good team assembled because this is where a lot of your capital expenditure can come from. You need to make sure you're reviewing the roof. You know, is there 10 years left or is there less left? Typically, a roof is going to last 25 years in Texas. If you only have 2 years left, then you might be looking at a capital expenditure. Gutters, HVAC systems, the big thing about HVAC systems, what kind are they? Are they chillers for the entire unit or are they individual? It's going to determine what you're looking at as far as utility bills also, and if they're used for individual pieces. Now, you can look that we do have checklists for these because you can just go down to make sure you don't miss something. The plumbing, how old is it? Is it ABS? Is it cast iron? What are the things you're looking for with that? You might want to have that plumbing contractor come out and actually run a camera down those lines to make sure that they're okay, because you don't want to get saddled with a $20,000 to $40,000 bill to replace the plumbing, and that can easily happen if you have problems with your sewer system. The next thing that you really want to take care of is electrical systems. What kind of wiring is it? If it was early 70s, it could be aluminum wiring, where else you use a lot of copper. Now, aluminum wiring is not necessarily bad, but it has to be properly brought to the outlet itself with the proper receptacles. So you need to look at that. Also, does it have the proper panels in? Federal Pacific panels are known for causing fires. You can get an inspector that can look for all these pieces to make sure you are not going to have problems down the road. Now, we also have to look at the other pieces of it. Paint and siding, how is that? Is that going to need to be updated? Have they already updated some of it? Did they go to the Hardy board type of siding? That will last you a lot longer than the masonite that you have. And you look at the windows, what kind do you have? Are you paying for electricity or are they paying for it? If they're paying for it in the single pane windows, you're probably not going to do anything as long as they're functional. Now, if they're broken, you're going to need to look at that to see what it needs to repair it. Also look at the other part, the foundation of the building and the sidewalks and parking lots around. Are those going to be able to be repaired if they're damaged, or are they not? You just need to figure out what's going on with the area. Another thing under the etc. part you can look at, do you have any problems with rodents or roaches or any other insects? Because that can really hamper a project, and it can also cause a lot of problems with people moving in and out quite a bit. Well, we've looked a lot on the exterior. Let's go to the interior part of it. You can see we have another checklist here, and the big thing with the checklist is to use it so you don't miss anything, because you want to know if there's any capital expenditures that's going to come up. Now, this one's pretty easy. All you're looking for is condition. Is it good? Is it bad? Do you want to repair it, replace it, or is it okay? If you're going to repair or replace, you need to make sure you have those numbers so that you can put that into your rehab budget. Now you look at things like floors. What kind do you have? Carpet, vinyl, hard tile. Are you going to be changing this? Are you going to be moving it to reposition these units to get more money? If you are, you're going to need to be putting in and be aware of what you need to do to bring these units up to a different position. How are the walls? Is the drywall damaged? Are there cracks there? How's the paint? Is it going to need to be repainted? What are the paint colors? Is it the newer grays and others of that color, or is it the old beige and that kind of stuff? The lights, what are you doing with those? Have those been upgraded yet? Are you looking at the new, more of the stainless steel brushed nickel type, or do you still have the old stuff in? Is it going to cost you money? At this point, are they working? If you've got a tenant in there, are you going to have to replace them? Maybe, maybe not. You need to determine what you're going to be doing with your team when you're going in with this. Now, another big thing, look at the kitchen. You know, that's where most people spend a lot of their time. Biggest thing you want to do as far as plumbing is to look under that sink. Is there any water damage? Because this is a major thing that happens to it. Water will get out and damage the cabinets and causes mold and other issues that you need to look at. How are the sinks? Are they operating properly? Are the fixtures doing okay? How about the appliances? Did you upgrade them yet? Are they white? Are they black? Where are you going to position that in the market? You need to make sure that you're putting these down. Check everything, every cabinet you have, open every door, do every drawer, because you want to make sure you get it fully. Same thing with doors and doorknobs. Does every door work? Are all the doorknobs working right? Is there a privacy one on the bathroom? That kind of stuff. Exterior doors, is the doorknob working correctly? You want to make sure that that you keep your tenants safe in there. Now you can also look at the bathrooms. They're very similar to the kitchen. You look at the same thing. Look under that vanity cabinet. Any water issues? If none, that's great. How about around the tub itself? Is water getting around some of the things like the shower curtains, or is there actually a leak there? You need to see if there's a difference, because you can get leaks there that look very similar, and then you've got a lot of problems with it damaging the floor. Also, do you have an interior AC unit or water heaters? If they're individual, you can let the AC guy know if there's any problems. If they're new, you can mark new, and it might not be something they really need to look except to see if they need to service it. How about the windows? You looked at them from the outside, but you're getting a different view from the inside. Do they open and close correctly, or are they going to need to be repaired? How about the trim on the floor and around the doors? How is it looking? Has any of it been broken? Is it going to need to be repaired? Put all that down. What other items can you look at in there? Well, have you looked for any insect problems? Have you looked for any holes in the wall that could be from vermin? Make sure you're looking for that, because it does make a big difference in people how they want to live in that area. Well, once you've got all this done, all the structural taken care of, and you're getting that done by the team, you need to get your other team to come in and look at the financials. Typically, this team that's going to review the financials is going to be your property management group, because they really know this stuff. They have their hands every day into leases and the things that's going on with the people that are there. So they can get and review all the leases, and they're going to review each one. They're going to check each lease out, see if there's any amendments or modifications on it. And also they're going to be pulling the deposits to make sure they know how much money needs to be brought over to the new owner. What are the current rent rolls going on? Are there financial statements that you've done before with the pro forma? Are those matching? If they don't match, what's going on? Why is there a difference in the numbers? Because you need to make sure you find that out. Is it current rent arrears? Do people owe you money? If people owe you money, what's better, having a vacant one or having somebody in that you've got to get rid of and then fix a house up? So it's all good to look at that to see what's going on with it. What about all the maintenance, utility, management, service, all the other contracts? What contracts are there? Which ones are going to expire? Which ones can you upgrade? Utilities are a big thing. You can make a lot of money off that if you go with the right ones, depending on if you're paying for the utilities or if the others. Make sure you're looking at all these pieces. What kind of maintenance contract do you have on this place? Can you save money on it? Is it going to be expiring anytime soon, or do you have it for another year or 2 years or 5 years? You need to look at these things, because you're going to be kept into the contracts with them. How about the utility bills? Are you getting all the water bills, or have you had your contractor check to see if there's 1, 2, or 3 water meters on here? You're going to want to check with the utility company to make sure that you're getting all of these, so that you can make sure that your expenses are aligned on your pro forma statement. Do you have a recent property appraisal? What is that, and what is you're going to actually get a new one for the bank, but what did it say? Does it come kind of in line with what you're going to pay? How about, do you look at any of the current or future lease concessions? How are you getting these people in? What kind of concessions are you putting on to get the new tenants in? Do you have any in place right now, or are you looking to put some in the future? How about your rehab budget? Have you validated that, the rehab budget that you're looking at, with all the pieces that you brought from reviewing it with your team, going through each apartment, and your contractors looking at all the major structural parts? You need to get all the accounts showing the deposits and payments so you can make sure that the money that's going in and out actually matches up. How about the real estate tax bills? Is your taxes going to go up when you buy this thing? You need to look at that. What are your tax bills now? Has it been accounted for? You need to also get your insurance policies, and what's the current bill, and what can you do with that? Are you going to be able to get a better one? Go ahead and get a quote from one of your insurance friends, one of your agents that you know. You might also, if you're going to be assuming a note or a mortgage, you're going to need to get those from the current seller. You need to get those, but if you're not going to do an assumption, this doesn't even apply to you. Now, we need to get into a little bit of the steps to closing. You know, on your due diligence that you've done right now, is everything okay? Are you still where you need to be with your numbers, or do you need to renegotiate the purchase agreement? All the things you just did will help you look at that. You want to make sure the title commitment is clear. Have you looked at that to see if there's any liens or encumbrances, any lawsuits or anything else that come up into that? Also, you want to make sure you set up escrow so any deposits when you do go close are going to be ready. Create an LLC also, because you want it to own the complex for you. You want to also verify with the lender that you have all this stuff, because they're going to be asking for most of this stuff to verify you can get your loan, that you've got all the pieces in place, what your rent rolls show, what your occupancy, that type things are. Going along with that, review the survey. You know, you've done your title and all this, you've given information to the lender. Is the property you're buying the property that you want to buy? Does it have all the buildings located in your survey? Are there any easements that are going to cause problems? Did the city have any easements that they can come onto your property for anything? Make sure you review that, because it's going to be very important. You're also going to have to get environmental site inspection, so hopefully you've gotten that already. That's one of the first things that you should be doing, because that's going to make sure that everything can go through okay. Now, are there disclosures that you can review? A lot of times the sellers don't give you much. So you're going to have to go, as shown in the next one, you might have to go down to the city, see what inspections have been done on that, and if there's any code violations, because these can be really important. Now, once you've gathered all this information, you're going to be about ready to close. So we're going to start with next week with another one that will show the steps to close. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Buddy. Appreciate that. I think I just heard you cut off, but that was pretty awesome. That concludes our three-part series on due diligence and what it takes to actually get a property under contract and determine whether or not it's the deal that you want, and how to actually do your due diligence on a property. This has been the Canis Major video blog. I'm Phil Grove, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you, everybody.